Stro. But we're glad you all are joining us. Feel free to chime in with questions and comments as we go for about 15 minutes here. Stro, I want to get to you right away with this. You did a nice piece on Teddy Bridgewater today, Panthers' new quarterback. And what are your takeaways from his conversation with the media yesterday?
Yeah, I just think he's, very kind of settled into where he is as a player. And I think that he's been through so much in his career that he's got a very good outlook on everything, right? Like everyone wants to do the whole Cam Newton, Teddy Bridgewater comparison. And he's like, look, I get it. Like, I know what Cam meant to this franchise and to this city, but all right, Cam is Cam and he's not here anymore. Teddy Bridgewater is Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm going to bring my stuff to the table. And he's like, I live and die by that. So I think, it's going to take a few games for people to get used to him running everything. But he says he feels confident that the way he was brought in from Mr. Tepper to Coach Rule, Marty, the whole coaching staff, that this team is his. Like he feels like everyone's already responding to him. So calm, cool, collected is how I feel about Teddy from that presser.
Yeah, and it's just such a crazy offseason to come in as a new quarterback because there's no OTAs, there's no mini camp. So how did he kind of get to know these guys in the last 4 months?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he shared this because he kind of put together like his own little mini camp and brought some of the guys in from what he told us, right? Brought in a lot of the offense to work together and whoever could come and that kind of thing. So I was surprised he told us that he did that, but kind of cool that he cared enough to facilitate something like that with it being such an unusual time for these players. And I think he kind of knew he had to do that, right? Like you're the new guy on the block. Like you.
Nope. Did we lose Stro? Looks like we had a little technical issue there. So while we wait to get Stro back, yeah. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Good. Sorry about that. Hey,
That's me.
2020.
That's my internet.
All right. Yeah. You were talking about he organized some of those off-season workouts.
Yeah.
And, I know he did that last week when after they all tested negative and they were in Charlotte too.
Yeah, so I was just, surprised that he kind of shared that with us. But I think kind of knowing you're the new kid on the block, even if you're one of the new leaders of the team, you still have to come in and develop those relationships. And you want your people to trust you on and off the field. So you kind of have to use all your resources, especially during 2020, because it's been very unusual for everybody.
Yeah, and thank you all for watching us, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Any questions or comments you might have, hit us up with those. One good thing to point out, again, Stro, after a week plus of COVID-19 testing every day, still no Panthers on that COVID-19 list. So that's been really good to see everybody pretty healthy. And I know after the last one of these we did, everybody they hadn't cut anybody yet either, but big cut on Friday while you were off. I think Thursday or Friday, Graham Gano. So what was your reaction to that? We haven't talked about that yet.
I know. I got to be honest, I was a little sad because he's been around for so long and he was one of my favorites, an easy guy to approach in the locker room for an interview. And, he did some really cool things while he was a part of this team, had some really great moments, set some records. And, we used to get to be on the field the last 2 minutes of the game. So there's been a number of times when it's come down to, is Gano going to hit this field goal or not? And just some of the reactions. I know you tweeted out some pictures, some of your memories from Gano's best days as a Panther.
Yeah, the kick against the Giants, 63 yards. He had a game winner against the Patriots all in the last few years since I've been here. But one interesting thing that the general manager, Marty Hurney, mentioned was because they've got to get the roster from 90 to 80 by a certain date. Now, they didn't have to do it for another week or so, but in order to have everybody in some part of the building socially distanced at the same time, they needed to go from 90 to 80. So instead of bringing Graham Gano into training camp to kick for his job against Joey Sly, the guy who replaced him last year, they just said, thanks for everything and good luck. And, I think we all think that Graham Gano is going to find a new team pretty quickly. He's 33, which is really young for a kicker in the NFL still. And he's still got a good leg, and coming off that injury, it sounds like he's doing well with it. So, that's just kind of what happens in these transitions with new coaches and the franchise going in a different direction. I mean, think about all the change that we've seen so far. Another thing that's happened since we last talked, and it happened yesterday, Monday, Christian Miller, the second-year linebacker out of Alabama, a guy who I think a lot of people thought could take some big steps this year, is opted out of the 2020 season, told the Panthers he's high risk. The NFL the Panthers completely understand when a player does that. That means they've been diagnosed or at risk for a laundry list of different medical conditions that, if they feel unsafe to play, they're going to have, the $350,000 stipend for this year that they don't have to give back for next year. But an emotional decision. I can't even imagine having to make that call, especially going into your second season.
Yeah, like you mentioned, a young guy showed a lot of potential last year, and it's like, I don't think anybody wants to not play like this. You only get so many NFL, not for long, right? So you only get so many years to prove yourself and to play, and so I'm sure it's not easy, but you got to do what you got to do, and if you're at high risk, it's not worth it long term. So.
Yeah. So another guy we talked to that people are excited about is DJ Moore. I got a chance to talk to him this morning. Third year in the league, top 15 in several different categories last year among the wide receivers in the NFL. And, I think that Matt Rule kind of laid out the expectations last week when he talked to us about how DJ Moore has the potential, if he does the right things, to be one of the best receivers in the NFL. I can certainly see that potential. It's funny talking to DJ about it because I think, as you know, from interacting with him over the last couple of years, he's kind of a shy and humble kid. But, what did you think of his year last year? And do you think he can be that go-to guy on those big third downs? Greg Olsen, and some of these other big play guys that are gone from this team. Can DJ Moore kind of step into that role?
Yeah, DJ's shy until you get Curtis around him, right? And then you have the two of them in the locker room, and you're going to have some good moments when they get going. Yeah. But I kind of feel like he was underrated last year. Like his numbers, like you just mentioned, they were up there. And so I think he kind of felt a little bit maybe like, I'm doing my job. Like, you guys are questioning it, but have you checked my numbers? Have you checked my stats? And so I think the potential is there. He even got Steve Smith to say nice things about him when he was drafted, and very few players can do that. So I definitely think, I think he started to show that last year. I don't think somehow he entered the conversation like he should have nationally among the receivers, but I definitely think the potential is there. But again, it's a whole new squad out there, so we got to see how they all mesh on game day.
All right. So some interesting things about this year's training camp and this year's training camp alone are, we've seen the guys rolling in and out. We've been out there a couple days each of the last few weeks. Some are wearing masks, some aren't. It is not required when they're on the practice field. These guys are testing negative every single day for COVID-19, and then they're on an outdoor practice field. Teddy Bridgewater's worn one. And then have you seen these like mesh Oakley masks that they can wear on their helmets?
Yes, and you tweeted out like a whole breakdown of that.
Yeah, I can tweet it again at the bottom of this thread, but they're super interesting. But I just don't get the sense that players want to wear them. They're optional.
Right.
But even the center, Matt Paradis, told us this morning that he has trouble breathing anyway when he's down in the trenches there and up close to everybody else. I don't know. Have you worked out with a mask yet? I haven't.
I have not, and I don't think I could. I gotta be honest. When we're out there in the heat doing our stand-ups, it's like, it's not easy. And I'm not, we're just standing there talking, but you got the heat going, the sun, pounding down on you. So I can't imagine. We could try it. You want to do a segment? You want to like meet midday and do a 30-minute workout
down the Greenway for a little bit? I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, but it'll be interesting to see, if it just makes guys feel more comfortable, and they are kind of, and I'll try to dial it up on my phone and show it through the camera. I'm not very technologically savvy, but I think I can do something like that. But yeah, whether guys will wear it or not, maybe it's a comfort thing. Oakley says they're designed to stop the spread of droplets, but allow you to breathe and communicate. I think that it could give some guys some sense of security. So as we wrap up here, Stro, in the next few minutes, I know you got something non-NFL related tomorrow, but I'm pretty excited about the conversation you're going to have tomorrow.
Yeah, well, a Panthers fan nonetheless. Austin Dillon is going to join us for a little one-on-one conversation about his season. Of course, just got a win a few weeks ago, his first one since I think the 2018 Daytona. Something like that, 2017 Daytona. So pretty awesome for him. He just had a little baby boy, Ace, and so he said that win was for.
That's a race car driver's kid's name right there, if I ever.
You gotta love it, right? Ace, yeah.
And here's the. Go ahead. I'll show you in a sec. Here's the helmet I was talking about. Can we even see it? Yeah, there we go.
Boom.
There's the mesh mask they're going to have optional for players this year. I guess that's a sign of the times, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Austin
I was going
Dillon.
to say Austin, good friends with Christian McCaffrey at the All-Star race a few years ago. Christian came out as one of his hype men when he did driver intros. And I think actually they had like a nice little cookout pool day after Austin won that race, and Christian went and hung out with him and helped him celebrate that win. So we'll certainly ask Austin about the Panthers and his friendship with Christian. That'll be nice to hear about. Yeah,
I mean, the Panthers have like so many local other celebrity athlete fans, right?
Yeah. A few years ago, I was going up to shoot the race, right, up top, how we get to do that. And the whole crew of Panthers players were getting on the elevator as I was getting off. And I'm like, oh, wait, what? And, Mario Addison at the time, great friends with Kevin Harvick. He's no longer with the Panthers. But yeah, he's like, we got to go to the race, guys. So we got to go pull for our buddies. So
yeah, Mario and Kevin had that great car connection. That was pretty cool to see it. You get these markets where you get like baseball players, basketball players, football players that all kind of like cross up, but to have NASCAR and NFL cross up is so unique to our market. So I'm super fired up to hear that conversation because we've got some big races on NBC coming down the pike at Daytona in a couple of weeks on the road course. So what do you think it would like? Let us into what you're going to ask me. Like, what's the scoop here?
I don't know. You can tune in at 5:50 tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
Conversation. Right. There we go.
Tease it. Yeah.
No, I'm excited to talk to him. Getting a win this year. He's in the playoffs. There's only 6 regular season races left to go. Some drivers below the cut line that you would not expect to see, but Austin feeling pretty good. He knows he's at least in the first round of the playoffs. Of course, I want to know how being a dad is, right? Especially now that you're at home so much. Yeah. Like, are you loving it? Are you getting any sleep? Like, how's that affecting it? Little football talk. So
yeah, and when does Ace realize who dad like really is to everybody else? That'll be a fun part of it too. All right, Stro.
Well, I was going to mention really quickly before we wrap up,
over
the weekend, K1 Short and Shaq Thompson talked. And of course, K1 back this year after being out with that partially torn rotator cuff. And Shaq, I thought this was very interesting. Someone said, all right, you're a leader on the team. What are you telling the young guys? And he's like, behave yourself. If you're a single dude, that stuff can wait. Like, think about the rest of us. Like, don't be going out. Don't be, hanging out with a bunch of different people. Like, it's about us and about our team. And you got to think about that. So he was.
Yeah, you don't want to be the Marlins. No. You want to be the NFL Marlins. But I'm glad you brought that up because the NFL did come out and tell players that, anytime they're somewhere where they're not supposed to be and they have a big list that, packed bars, you go to a restaurant, but you can't go to like a packed bar. You go to a sporting event that's not an NFL game, obviously, that you're playing in without social distancing. They will allow you to go to church services.
Okay.
A sticking
I thought I had to be like a really small church service, but I like that.
It might be. Yeah. They did kind of tinker with that a little bit, I guess. But you could be fined up to $15,000. Then they said if you don't take a COVID-19 test, you'd be fined $50,000. But like, who wouldn't take a COVID-19 test? I don't know.
Right.
Seems like if you can get tested every day by your employer, you're in a pretty good spot. So glad you mentioned that. And so far so good for the Panthers in training camp with COVID-19. Stro, appreciate you joining me again. And good luck with that conversation with Austin Dillon. Really looking forward to that. And we'll do this again tomorrow.
Sounds good.